Hey everybody, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is the weekend, Saturday, June 14th. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. This, of course, is the weekend video. We'll take a look at what happened last week in the markets and around the world. It was quite an eventful couple days there at the end of the week. And then we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming up this week. It's a shortened trading week. Thursday is a holiday. I will be taking the week off, going on a bit of a cruise. So anyway, let's get down and talk about what happened last week for starters. Okay, so let's start out with a quick week in review here. Markets looked pretty good there. We had softer CPI and PPI data released on Wednesday and Thursday. That looked like, again, inflation was under control and maybe even coming down. Traders and investors obviously encouraged by the numbers. We're starting to hope for earlier rate cuts from the Fed. And that kind of quickly turned around on Thursday when Israel and Iran started trading missile strikes. And of course, oil prices and gold prices spiked up on those geopolitical concerns. So we did end up, as a consequence, down in most of the indexes, or all of the indexes here, down slightly on the week after it was looking like we were going to go for another green week there until that all happened. Energy and healthcare, they were the biggest sectors, gained the most on the week. Financials and industrials were the biggest losers. We'll talk about financials in a minute here, what exactly was going on there. And 2-year and 10-year treasuries dropped a little bit on that CPI and PPI data, and the dollar continues to be weak here. And Bitcoin really going nowhere in a hurry fast right now. Seems to be just consolidating around this 104, 105 range. So that was your week in review. So a quick pause here just for a shout out for my books that are available on Amazon: How to Swing Trade, Profiting as an Active Trader, both sort of swing and position trading type books if you're interested, and my most recent one, How to Trade Options, if you're interested moving into options and learning some of the strategies I use for trading options. It's a complete A to Z book on trading options. So they are available. Links are in the description, and also available in all formats. So if you like to listen to audio or e-reader, they're available there as well. So let's get on and take a look at some of the indexes here. Treasuries, you can see here, 2-year dropped off a little bit. Of course, this was on the positive news that we got from PPI and CPI data during the week, and pretty much similar for the 10-year. But again, we're kind of stuck right now in a 4.5 to 4.3 range on the 10-year. So there were a few bond auctions this week, seemed to go fairly well. And we're probably just hanging around this range for the time being, just biding time till something comes up that moves these yields. You can see here the Dow had a pretty bad day on Friday with the Israel-Iran conflict, as we looked like we were going to push to a new high there. Definitely a pullback into the range. And again, you see that on the week we're still in a uptrend, but again, kind of running out of speed here on the Dow. The Qs, again, all very close to all-time high here. Came back up. We're still holding this 20 moving average, which is still a good indication that we are in an uptrend. Some pretty decent volume on Friday on this pullback. And again, on the week, we're still just, you can expect once we get up close to an all-time high, probably some backing and filling going to be needed before we really challenge that high and see if we can push further forward. The SPY, again, sort of same story here, very close to all-time high. A bit of backing and filling, running out of steam here for the time being. But still trend is your friend, and it's still upwards. IWM probably taking most of the beating here on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we got sell-off on some of that news and the geopolitical news. And it, again, tried to break out here. This was a pretty significant area of resistance, 214. Couldn't get above it, and pulled back down here on the week. VIX, again, spiked up on that geopolitical event. Again, we pulled back from the high, but I've been watching the VIX next week. Let's see what happens. A lot of it's going to depend on the how things escalate in the Middle East. And the dollar looking really weak here. Again, tried to gap up there on the day and sold off. And really getting ready to retest some lows here. Some dollar still looking fairly weak as maybe some of the funds and stuff start hedging their dollar and moving into other currencies here. Bitcoin again, kind of stuck in this range here. We did try to break out during the week, and again pulled back on that. And again, it looks a little choppy over the last couple weeks here. So that was your week in review. You talked about this in the trading room. Kind of like the way it did sell off here after earnings. Kind of just a bit of a disappointment, although the numbers were decent, but really got sold off here. And it started to pop back up, and I thought, oh, it's probably bottomed here because I really liked the numbers. So I got back in here and just really hit this 200-day, didn't go any higher, started to sell off again. And as soon as it came back, actually this day, Thursday, was the day I took it off because it just, terrible candle. And I just thought, took a bit of a loss on that one, unfortunately, but honored my stop and glad I did. So that was DOCU. GDX I got back into. I'd gotten out of it when we kind of topped out about here, pulled back. I got back into it, and it was rather timely with the geopolitical things that happened. So back in GDX again, or in some gold stocks, not necessarily GDX. Lots of way to play gold. I've got some miners that I watch in the Canadian market. OKLO, again, I got out of this one last week. Actually got back into it again when it started to break out here. It's still holding a little bit. PLTR, again, got out of that one. And I ended up getting back into it again. Probably should just stick with it, but you just looked like it was going to break down here, but it didn't. So, and silver, still holding some silver stocks in my accounts as well. Here you can see it's hanging in there, maybe doing a bit of consolidation. So had a really nice breakout. Was highlighting this a couple weeks ago, looking like saying silver was looking very positive for a breakout here. And that's turned into a really good trade. One of my better swing trades for the year so far. So that's it. That's what we had for last week. A lot, so I'm not going to be looking for a lot of trades here. I kind of like this UNH. It looks like it's kind of stuck here around 342 is the high, and then you've got sort of this 295 level that's the low. Seems to be finding support at, and maybe putting in a bit of a double bottom here, maybe starting to trend back up. So could sell some calls here up at 342 50s maybe. Could sell some puts down here. Any number of option combinations here for this stock could be a decent trade. Let's take a look at QUBT. I had this on my watch list last week, kind of missed out on it. It did break out through this 14 level, which I flagged. Maybe a pullback here, 1450 would be a good long. I'll put that as an alert. And Uber. Again, I've been watching this one for a while. Looks like 4250 would be a retest of this trend line, also some prior support. So it could be a good place to take it long with a tight stop as well. So a couple to watch next week. But again, like I said, I'll be, for the most part, away from my trading desk and won't be taking too many trades. Okay, so let's wrap things up here for the week of June 16th. There's your indexes with the various support and resistance levels. Really haven't changed that much. Still looking at all-time highs for the SPY and the Qs. As far as economic events go, I guess the biggest one here is going to be the 2 p.m. Fed rate hike decision, probably going to stand pat. That's what everybody's expecting. I think the more interesting event will be the 2:30 Powell conference and sort of the tone he takes in terms of what he sees for the future in terms of rate cuts. Thursday, the holiday, obviously. Retail sales will be kind of interesting, see how the consumer's holding up. And as far as earnings go, really pretty light. We've got a few after the close Monday, really nothing Tuesday, Wednesday, holiday Thursday. And we've got Kruger, Darden Restaurants, and Exerin on the Friday morning. But yeah, pretty light overalls on earnings. So as far as sort of high level assessment, again, markets still remain sensitive to these news bombs, which seem to be coming left, right, and center. Trend is still your friend. I think the trend is still up. Retest of highs is still likely. It's going to be a little bit choppy to get there probably. Dip buyers are still in there. They're still supporting the market. You could see that even on when we got some sell-offs, there was some dip buyers coming in there. Powell's conference again is going to be telling. He may start to sound a little more dovish, which could boost the markets. Might sound like he's maybe going to start considering some rate cuts later, maybe as early as July. Again, this Israel and Iran conflict is going to continue. It doesn't sound like Israel is in any means going to be backing down here. So I think this is going to continue, and it will be supporting oil and gold prices. So continuing to watch for some good price stability or elevated levels on these commodities. So that's it, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Again, I'm going to be away, but should be an interesting week overall. I'll still have internet access, so I'll still be watching the markets, maybe doing a few trades here and there. But everyone else will be around in the Bear Bull trading room. 8 o'clock we will start pre-market show 8 o'clock. So hopefully you'll join us there. Take care, everyone.